In this video, we are going to look at meshing enhancements for Femap version 2301. In part 1, we will look at how to mesh parts using the body mesher with mesh points. And then, in part 2, we will look at how to edit a mesh that contains beam elements using the mesh on mesh. In the first part of the meshing enhancements for Simcenter Femap version 2301, we're going to look at how we can use the mesh bodies with mesh hardpoints. In previous versions to 2301, if we use the mesh bodies in previous versions, you'll notice that it will skip the hardpoints on meshing. Now that the surfaces have been meshed, with the previous command, you're going to notice some messages in the message window that says unable to insert all hardpoints. And this is what happens when you use the mesh bodies with mesh hardpoints. Now, if we just undo this, we can now utilize the mesh bodies with the hardpoints. If you simply come up to Mesh Geometry and Surface, and then select your surfaces. Here you'll see a new option for body on mesh. Now when you mesh those surfaces, the mesh will now line up with those hard points. In the second part of the meshing enhancements for Simcenter Femap version 2301, we're going to look at how we can use the mesh on mesh to edit a mesh with beam elements. And this edit will refine and unrefine the mesh with whatever size you want. So here we currently have a mesh with no geometry, and we need to edit this mesh, and it has beam elements. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to the mesh on mesh, which allows us to edit a mesh with no underlying geometry. So first I'm going to select the type I want to edit. And in this case I want to edit the plate elements. And with editing the plate elements, the beam elements will update as well. So in this case, I will refine the mesh. And notice, as I refine the mesh, the beam elements update with the corresponding plate mesh as well.